Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you for joining me. I'm Katie and I'm going to be working with gouache today. I'm not going to lie, it's not my favourite paint to work with, but let's give it a try. I'm using black watercolour paper by the Van Gogh brand, and the gouache I'm using, it's not particularly expensive. We have a shop here in the UK called The Works, and that's their own brand. It's okay, it does a job. And considering I don't like it, I didn't really want to invest any money in it. However, if I do grow to like it, I may have an upgrade, we'll see. As you can see, I've outlined my picture using the white gouache diluted, and I'm using my trusty glass pen. I'm actually quite impressed with how nicely this worked on the outline, and it's got a suitable opacity still, so that's good. It flowed quite nicely off the pen. It did leave a bit of a glob to start off with, but I think that was because I've got an excess amount on there. But once I'd sort of figured out which was the best amount to put on there, it worked quite nicely, and I'm actually really happy with it. Now it's time for some colour. I've just gone in there with orange, I put it on neat, and then I'm just working it in with the water brush. I do quite like how opaque this is. I did do some swatches beforehand, and some of the colours really didn't work too well on the black. They just weren't quite opaque enough, so they were omitted from the palette. And I'm using what you see in front of you now. I found the blue went on quite nicely. Again, it was diluted and smushed around like I would with a watercolour. The difference between gouache and watercolour is the opacity and how flat it looks when it dries, and how different it looks once it's dried, especially on the black paper. It doesn't quite look as vibrant, but I was still quite happy with it. It's now time to add some highlights, and I'm going straight in there first with a correction pen. I did see this hack on a video by Super Ray Dizzle, and I'd not really used it before, but I actually quite like how bright it was. I think the pen I'd got wasn't great though. It did kind of just spill out of the nib. It was very pressure sensitive, we'll say. But in all, it added a bit of depth, and those highlights look pretty sweet. I've also gone in to use Posca pens with this. They are my go-to pen for working on a dark surface. I do use the jelly roll type pens as well, but sometimes you need to add coloured highlights too, which was ideal for this picture. I also wanted to introduce some other colours which didn't make it onto my palette choice, again due to the opacity issues with the paper. And I quite like this as a challenge as well. For me, I don't usually work on dark paper and work outwards with the highlights. It's usually the other way around. So for me, this was quite a nice way of trying the medium and seeing if I could use it in a way which I'd like it. Because of the nature of gouache, again, that's another reason why I decided to move on to Poscas. When you lay the colours, it usually reactivates the paint underneath, which is normal because it is a water-based paint. However, because it kept temporarily altering the tone of the colour, I opted for the Poscas. Now I've added a few bubbles, it's time to go in with the black Posca pen and just perhaps redefine the outlines a little bit. Again, I'm not perfect with gouache at the moment. I might give it a try on a few more projects. I know the Poscas have gone in for the detailing, but for the main body of the work it has been gouache. And using that black pen has just brought out some of them details that might have been lost. And here we are, it's all done. Thank you so much for watching, it does mean a lot to me. And if you want to help me out, don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!